I'm good.
Going. We're running. It's live. But Carly,
Yes.
I haven't really known you. I think that I have seen you in all these giveaways for VeeFriends and all this kind of fun stuff that you've been putting out, but it caught my eye as I'm kind of developing this whole thing around parenting. I guess like dads is kind of the focus right now, but I want all parents. I really want to hear what's going on, how VeeFriends is affecting certain things, and what's actually kind of happening, how Web3 parenting is kind of coming in. And I've always loved this connection that I've seen you and your kids kind of have right now. So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to jump in and see what you had to kind of share with me and, all that kind of stuff there.
Well, my younger daughter is very obsessed. You know what I mean? My older daughter only really likes Rare Robot, and my older daughter finds it funny to like roast Gary. She makes fun of a lot of the stuff that he says and laughs at all the influencers that make fun of him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I think I don't care that she does that because she hears everything. You know what I mean? If she's joking about, you know what I'm saying, being grateful and having gratitude, like she's getting it that way and she's absorbing it that way. However, my younger one is more obsessed with the NFTs, the cards. She convinced me to buy the vending machine, which is in my room.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And she's like, wears all the clothes, shows me all this stuff. Like she's on eBay more than I am. You know what I mean? Looking at stuff. And she's very different. I love both my children exactly the same. Like I couldn't pick. But if I had to say which one was more like, my older one, if you stub your toe, she'd laugh at you. Whereas my younger one would run up and be like, are you okay? Do you need anything? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's taken like, I think that I was two very different parents though when I raised them.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I mean?
sure.
Because, in just like the last 5 or 6 years, I've changed tremendously. And I stopped caring about what my mom thought or what my dad thought or what their dad thought. And I was just like, they're with me. It is what it is. And this is how it is. You know what I mean? And growing up, the older one didn't have that luxury. I cared more about her going to school and getting good grades and what she looked like and what she ate and how she talked and if she went to church. And I didn't really care what she liked. It was like more of what society's normal was, or I cared that people saw that I had a smart child versus a happy child. You know what I mean?
100%.
And
100%. No.
Yeah, and that changed a lot. Once, I kind of changed. I was like, listen, this fucking kid ain't happy. She's miserable. But unfortunately, the older one still deals with a lot of that. And we talk about it a lot. And I still tell her, it's my fault that you're like that. You know what I mean? She gets very upset when she's judged by my mom.
Sure.
And like the younger one doesn't care. Like you could tell her, blah, 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 blah. She don't give a crap. Okay, bye. Like the younger one, though, the older one, if my mom says, are you going out like that? You're going to wear that out or your hair doesn't look good. The older one, the 15-year-old gets very upset. You know what I mean? Because she cares what my mom thinks or what someone else thinks of her. Because I enforced that when she was younger and growing up.
Sure. I hear you. I think that I think I connected when you ended up saying, I believe you used the word kind of guilt within there a little bit too, about how it kind of came from you and you're the one who kind of like put this on her. I feel like there's definitely, yes, I think we can definitely affect our kids a ton. I
100%.
think that we also make a lot of guilt. Like you are exuding that, you're letting us know for sure that is coming from you. But for sure, I think kids are different. Like I definitely know that the way that you explained how things were with your oldest and kind of what you were trying to kind of do with society and everything else too, with the acceptance side. I mean, our kids are definitely their own person as well. Like I will always say that my oldest, she's 7, she's very emotional to the point that like makes me even love her that much more. because that's where I'm at, and that's where we really connect over. Versus like my 3-year-old who hasn't lived that much in this world yet, but she's like a spitfire, and like she wouldn't care, what's like going on. Like if she gets upset, she runs into her room at 3 years old. She's not even 3 yet; she's 3 at the end of March. But like she'll run in her room, she'll go like punch a pillow and come back and she's fine. I'm like, how did you learn that? How did you learn to go like take your emotions and be okay with that later? I always find that so weird, but it's just so cool. But look, I think we just jumped the gun here. Man, we are on fire with all this kind of stuff at the moment. I'm here to also, I just want to learn about you. So Carly, I've seen you posting all these kind of things under, I think 2 different handles, right? You do have 2 different handles on X. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I'm pretty sure it was. And then I think I jumped over to Instagram. And my goodness, you're following over there, which I'm not saying is what's defining you in my mind. But obviously you've done something. You've said something. You've had an experience that you've shared that's resonating with a lot of people. But do you want to introduce yourself, like who you are, like what is all that? Where'd it come from?
I actually was almost 500 pounds. So
Wow.
there's a huge, and I had a weight loss surgery 23 years ago when it wasn't as popular as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And most of the people, which is the only really thing that I have, that attracts people that have had this surgery, is most people after 23 years are either dead or gained all their weight back. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I actually didn't want to have skin surgery. I had enormous amount, about 3.5 years ago, I had an enormous amount of loose skin. So I like legitimately went and gained a lot of the weight back, but all muscle. So I didn't have to have skin surgery. So that's mostly where my following is from. Like on Facebook, I have an enormous group and a huge following over there. I've built quite a little side hustle, trying to help people with classes and this and that and the other thing. But for the most part, like I'm a huge advocate for these people actually learning the proper ways to eat, because they're really, but most doctors and most bariatric, which is a weight, eating 1,000 calories a day, and it's very unhealthy. You know what I mean? They lose an enormous amount of muscle. They don't really understand, because they're in such a rush to lose weight, that losing the muscle is screwing up their metabolism and lowering their BMR and really creating the skin issue that they are talked into having the skin removed or going on Ozempic or one of these Wegovy things, because now their metabolism is garbage. They still have an enormous amount of weight to lose, but how you losing weight when your BMR is 1,100 and you're 200 pounds? How you losing weight? You're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, they're set up. Most of the doctors that do this are not. The education system for these people, they're in a bad place. Nobody should be given a surgery and told that they're going to lose all their weight in the first 18 months. That's stupid. You know what I mean? So I pretty much try to advocate for these people about losing slow. It's not about a scale number. It's about your body fat and your BMR and your skeletal muscle mass and your intercellular water and the things that matter. So that's really why I do a lot of the stuff that I do. You know what I mean? Because I really just feel bad that, honestly, I really started this little Facebook group like 3 years ago, just to show people. And I started it when I had no result, because Gary always was like, dude, you want to do something? Do what you want to do, but document the whole fucking thing. Yeah, so I was just like, I knew I was doing it. However, so that's why I started the group when I had zero result. Like when I started, I was like, I'm Carly. This is my skin. I'm 149 pounds and I don't want to have skin surgery. I think I could build enough muscle. And that's what I did. You know what I mean? So so I'm 214 now. My body fat's like 26%. When I started the group, I was 204 and 43% body fat. You know what I mean? In 3 years. Yeah. So, I mean, I have results, which is the only reason why I have a following. You know what I mean? I'm not cute. I'm
Yeah.
not up there entertaining y'all. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to tell you, like, you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. Because even I was messed up for a long time. When you're overweight like that, you feel like you got something to prove to everybody.
I hear you. I mean, I've
100%.
I've seen that professionally. I've seen that personally in many ways as well, and it's a heck of a transformation. I mean, again, physically, but also mentally. I love kind of that you were able just to share exactly what it was that you were going through. I think people need that. I think they just need to think that there is trust that they should do something, but then also like to be able to fall back on someone,
Right.
because it's amazing how many observers are just out there, right? Not everyone's going to comment, not everyone's even going to like
Right.
something where, the thing that wakes, I think, a lot of, people like us up, because I'm going to put you in the category of like an influencer that's not really hoping to be an influencer as much. It's just like, look, I just kind of fell into this and I'm just sharing my story, but I'm
Right.
so glad that it did resonate with you. But that's kind of now what's getting me up in the morning to kind of do what I do. Because I don't know about you, but I know that in the nutrition space, for me, I know it's tough where I feel like, what am I doing? Who am I fighting anymore? Right? It's like you have all of this,
There's too much information.
these
It's
like fads,
oversaturated.
totally, and like people don't want to hear, the slow and steady approach. They want to hear the stuff that's like hard hitting, and so it's
Yeah.
really hard to think about.
They want
And I
instant
think also,
results.
especially, yeah, exactly. And it's not until someone sees those results that's hard. I was having a conversation with someone recently, and I was grateful for it. And he was telling me something. I'm contracted through a gym, and then I'm working at. We were talking about like sales of certain like products that we were putting out, like nutrition services. Long story short, we got down to a conversation about like sex sells. And I've like always been in that position to think like sex just gets attention, but then like you have to make the sale. But at the same time, it's like, especially when you're trying to kind of get that attention with certain markets right now, it's like you do have to kind of exude some of that sexiness in terms of like, yeah, you got to show yourself in the way of like, you can't show so much the process. You have to show the end result to then talk someone into going through the process, right? Anyway, I feel like I could kind of soapbox on that forever right now, but
I'm just lucky that in where I have a niche in this market because of the
yeah,
weight loss surgery. So most 99% of my followers have had some kind of weight loss surgery, and it's only getting bigger. And they're only coming out like, if you had a weight loss surgery and you didn't lose all your weight in 18 months, they're trying to send you for skin surgery removal, or they're trying to stick you on another medication and you're going for it. That's a problem. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
get a lot of hate and a lot of people mad at me that I talk about not taking the medication. I'm like, what could you imagine, like, if I came up here trying to sell you this medication and giving you a code to save 20%? It's seriously like, no matter what, somebody gonna judge you. You know what I mean? They're gonna
yeah. No,
say
I
they don't
I hear
like when
you.
I
I
talk
was
about it. And I just don't think that these people need, if you had a weight loss surgery and you can't lose weight, let's find out why. Most of the time it's because you didn't do the shit right. You know what I mean? And they
yeah,
set it up so you don't do it right. Because if they teach you how to be healthy and how to take care of yourself, I haven't been back to a bariatric doctor in years.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
their client. You know what I'm saying? They're
I
not
hear you.
making money on me. You know what I mean? It's a business. But,
Yeah,
they feel they prey on these women because these women already feel so subpar about themselves because they're overweight. They're going to listen to a doctor and they're not going to think, okay, they don't question the doctor. They believe him because they think he has a certificate. Like, go ask your doctor to look at his food log or what his workout log looks like. He's going to be like, what? I don't, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just like, he's a surgeon. Thank you. You've done a good job. I'm out of here. And they don't
yeah,
want to do that. You know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. I feel like I should connect you with this other person in a very similar position as you. He's on IG under My Weight Is History.
I know
Rob,
who he is. He's from Philly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know.
Great.
I follow him.
I jumped on my other podcast for my business with him
Yeah.
one time, and the dude just like He like lights
I
you
love
up. He's
him.
so funny. Yeah, he is such an
He has
amazing
like a
guy. I
men's
think,
club and everything. Yeah, I
yeah,
follow him.
he just invited me to speak as part of his group. He has something coming up, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to know if you want to speak." I don't have the details yet, but I'm definitely excited. But I don't want to get lost there so much. I
Right.
talk about that all the time. But obviously, all of this has kind of made you who you are now in parenting. You said something I think really salient for this moment, and you said that when you were bringing up your first daughter versus your second daughter, that you weren't the same person. The whole story that you just shared with me is that kind of, were you going through any of this during that time? Like, who were you within what you just shared in parenting, and did this change? Because what a hell of a mindset that you have to have, and this is something you're giving to your kids. Like, this is
Yeah.
definitely something that you're sharing with them, like to have gone through that, to quote unquote fight part of the system that you're talking about right now. All of this takes an attitude, it takes some kind of lifestyle, it takes a way for you to actually speak and look at the world and keep an open mind at the same time, like being your own advocate. Like, that doesn't just sit outside of your children's mind. Like, you've given that to them. But if you were someone who like just came out of surgery, I guess I don't know. Maybe you can kind of place where you were with your kids as they were kind of coming up. But like, can you connect those two things in terms of where that parenting was?
Yeah, it was right around about 4.5 years ago. Like, my mom is, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, I love my mom, but my mom is
Gotta get
extremely,
real. Gotta get real. This is it. This is parents affect their kids. That's just what it is.
my mom is extremely judgmental, and she has a
Sure.
problem with obese people,
Okay.
and she has a huge issue with herself and she's not heavy, but in her mind, she doesn't like what she weighs. She's about 75 now. So she was happier. Now it's different, but she was a lot happier when I told her that. I'm like, listen, mom, I'm miserable and I'm unhealthy and I want to gain weight. She was like, there was a big argument.
Hmm.
Like, she was like, this is not a good idea. You're crazy. You just keep, like, even to this day, if I'm bulking versus if I was 2 summers ago, I was like 170, but I wasn't even near, and I'm lower body fat now than I was at
Sure.
170. But
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
was like, your face looked so much skinnier than I liked it. That, like, she's still like that. And I
Yeah.
guess, like, right around the time when I finally was like, I don't fucking care. I'm tired of your fucking shit. I had to grow up obese as your child. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm not
Yeah.
being mean. I love you, but I don't care what you think is healthy. You eat fucking, I can't believe it's not butter spray. It's all chemicals. Like, I'm not listening to you.
Sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not in a mean way, not to disrespect you, but like, so when that happened, I think when I stopped caring about what other people thought of what I was doing, I think my younger child was only about 4 or 5 when that went on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas my
A
other daughter,
very plastic moment, right? That's like they're going to absorb a lot in that moment.
right.
Yeah.
Whereas my other daughter was already like 11. You know what I mean? And she was already groomed into, we care what people think of us. You know what I'm saying? And the younger one did not, which is why she's so much more social and outgoing and doesn't care if people's like, if the kids are playing and they don't want to play with her, she's like, bye. You know what I mean? Whereas my 15-year-old, it would be a problem. Like, she goes out and she has like anxiety talking to new people. You know what I mean? So my 15-year-old's homeschooled. She wanted to be. And the thing is, like, because I made her care so much and I cared so much, like, she legitimately was reading at 2. Like, I had baby can read and she was going to be smart. And it was because I quit school. Like, I wanted my parents to see I was going to raise this beautiful, skinny, smart, intelligent, like, live vicariously through my child, because I couldn't give you those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of like, I feel bad I did that to her, but she's extremely intelligent. You know what I mean? She's very beautiful, but thinks she's ugly. She's very thin and muscular, but thinks she's fat. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of work to do with her, whereas the younger one, I don't. Like, I didn't care what she did. I wasn't trying to make her smart, and not that I was trying to make her stupid, but at that point when I was raising her, it was like, I don't care what you do. I don't even,
Yeah.
I personally went through a lot of like, I didn't want another kid. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So that
but
was
and
hard.
if can I ask, just because again, this is the moment where things kind of switch for you, right? Where you did kind of let your mom know what was in your head and how you were actually feeling, and so that 100%, like, you not only said it to your mom, but that was just something that now you were living. And what you're saying is that your younger daughter just grew up within that
Yeah.
energy versus your oldest. Got it. So this is definitely kind of like where everything is changing. This wasn't a deliberate thing for you. And I know you just said a pretty heavy thing in terms of like you didn't want that other child kind of thing and whatever was going on. But like there's a lot going on there. Like, yeah, you are two different people. My gosh, just like you said, like that is very different. That's a lot to deal with. And I think sometimes as parents, I get this as I get older. I start realizing how much my parents were probably going through when I was growing up, and like the challenges that I have now because of how I was brought up. I wasn't brought up in a parenting vacuum. It wasn't a get up, we're gonna have everything ready for you. Like I'm now, I think as I get older, I'm getting a little bit softer and understanding maybe like, oh God, like they may have not been ready in some cases to be a parent, but I understand why. And I understand the struggles they were going through. I think they could have done it better in some cases, but my gosh, like I'm seeing that now. And we can definitely be easier on our parents at the same
I
time.
never judged.
Fell short. It's so, but it's hard. Like I can even hear it from you, right? You're like, well, no, I'm protecting my mom. And I was in therapy when I first started therapy. One of my therapists called me out like a couple months in. He's like, do you know whenever you talk about your parents and like something that really affected you that we would even call some sort of trauma that they brought on, you protect them in everything you say because you start with something like, but okay, but they were also in this moment, or they were doing this, or but they did love me. And I didn't catch it, but I was always afraid to accept the fact that, yeah, they can definitely hurt me and love me at the same time, and I don't have to protect them. And that you as a child, that wasn't your role. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into
It's
that. I think it's still a part of it, but yeah, I mean, again, two totally different people. I totally hear you. I feel you on that.
hard.
Yeah. Do you wish things could have been different? Are you grateful for kind of like where your younger daughter, kind of what she was able to absorb for
I'm
you?
glad everything went the way it went down.
Good. I'm glad.
I wouldn't regret any of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's
Totally.
actually absolutely the most special kid on earth because she really, like, her heart, like, she gives a shit. Whereas I'm not saying that my other kid doesn't, but she don't. You know what I mean? She will tell you right to your face, go F yourself. And it's just, she doesn't have like she'll come home from school and she'll like, and I don't care that she does this, but like she'll make my mom stuff for Mother's Day. You know what I'm saying? And not like I care, she'll always do something or whatever, but she'll like go to the school store and instead of spending the money on herself, she'll buy everything for other people. Like
Sure.
I'm not saying that she doesn't love herself, but she always puts other people's feelings first, whereas my older daughter does not. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And my older daughter is very bougie. My younger daughter is not. Like my older daughter is my mom did a lot of spoiling to the first grandchild. You know what I mean? To the
Pretty typical, I'd say, right?
like bad. Like my daughter, and she still does it to my older daughter.
Yeah.
Whereas, not that she doesn't do it to my younger daughter, but not to the effect of my older daughter. She will sit there and tell me by myself, that's my favorite grandchild out of all 6 months. You know what I mean? My
Sure.
older daughter, which to me sucks because my daughter expects the same type of treatment sometimes from me where I'm just like, I ain't your grandmother. You know what I mean? So it's just, she's a very good kid. She like, I joke around a lot about like she's 15 years old. She's never had a boyfriend. She don't even care to go out and hang out with people. So like I lucked out there. You know what I mean? And she'll throw
Yeah.
it in my face too. She'll be like, look at these people on TikTok. You're not going to buy me this thing. Look at these kids. They have babies. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I'm
Yeah.
not, it's true. Like one of your things when you're a
Wait,
parent is like,
I feel like I didn't get that at first. So she's basically being like, I don't have a kid, Mom. You can at least help me out.
she's
I'm
like,
so
she'll
sorry.
tell me right to my face, I'm a good kid. I get good grades. I don't have no boyfriend. I'm not having out doing drugs or having sex. You could buy me a $35 teddy bear. And she's right. Like, I should be
Yeah,
happy she just wants a teddy bear. You know what I mean?
yeah.
At 15 years old, she's not asking me for $300 pocketbooks. You know what I'm saying? But she's a little excessive sometimes because it's not one teddy bear. It's like every week it's a new thing. It's an Amazon thing. You know what I mean? She gets a lot of money. But the thing is, she's a very good kid. She does a lot of work. She helps me a lot with my little side hustle, and she mails out all the VeeFriends cards because I send out a lot of
Oh yeah,
cards.
okay.
You know what I mean? So she does do a lot of mail. She helps me in my groups because I do have like 10 groups on Facebook where people pay monthly to join and shit. So she does a lot of like messaging people. Like a day she's messaging 60 to 80 people. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So she does do a lot of work because they'll try to join a group and, you know, they don't, if you didn't pay or you didn't sign up, are you trying to join this group? Where's your receipt? Blah, blah, blah. Cause I have a website. So she does a lot, but you know, sometimes I give her too much because I even said this the other day. If she went to go work somewhere else, she ain't making that kind of money. And then I
sure,
don't see her as the type that would be, if somebody said you made my coffee wrong, my daughter would try to figure out how it wasn't her fault. She's not customer
sure.
service oriented. I don't think she is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
no, it definitely makes sense.
you know, you're very aware of how your kid's behavior is. However, you know, my younger daughter, like she legitimately one day came up, this was over the summer last year, asked me for $10 or something. And I'm like, I'm not giving you another $10. They use so much money on Roblox and they play. And like my kids got major Roblox money all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she wanted $10. I told her no. And then she comes back and she's like, she's got money. She's like, here, can you give me, she goes, tries to give me money and for me to buy her the Roblox because I'm like, where'd you even get money from? My mom? I said, did my mother give you this money? She's like, no, she legitimately went outside and sold rocks. She went, so like, I was kind of like, okay, okay, that's cool. I felt funny about it for a second, but to have that in her head, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, she's going to be okay. You know what I mean? She's going to have it figured out.
I mean, that's very much, I think, that entrepreneurial spirit that it sounds
She's
like
definitely
you
like
are
that.
connecting with, thinking for yourself, right?
Right.
Being your own advocate, right? All those type of things. It's what you, I think, were going through at a time when a child was so pliable.
Right.
She's taken all of that in. Is that what you wish if your daughter was sitting here in the future? Do you think that that's the kind of thing that she would be sharing about you?
She might, I don't know, but I know for a fact my younger one is not going to be able to go get a 9 to 5 job. I know that she's not like that. When I could watch when she plays with other kids, like she's the director of everything. Do you know what I mean? She's telling them what to do. She's telling them where they're playing. She comes up with all the ideas. You know what I mean? So it's like she's very opinionated to the point where my other daughter is more of the type that's a follower and needs to go be a travel agent somewhere. You know what I mean?
Got it.
And
Yeah.
she's not the type to set up shop or a camp or anything like that, where my younger daughter is very like, I'm not even joking you. And I just found this out the other day. I went on and my younger daughter, she's 11 now. She has about 5 TikTok accounts. She now has a TikTok account that she just opened a couple weeks ago. And I just saw it the other day and I was laughing at her, where she named it VeeFriends Vending Machine. And all it is her opening up ball after bowl. She puts it in and she does like the same exact thing. Puts the money in, turns it, goes right over to her opening it, and then like, so it's just hilarious. You know what I mean? Like she has about 9 different Roblox accounts. She's nuts. Whereas my older daughter's not like that. She's not, she's got an Instagram account with 3 posts that have been on there for 10 years. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
allowed them and I don't care because I know people have opinions. I allowed them carte blanche of the internet. Like my daughter, and I get a lot of shit for it, and I don't give a fuck. It's not your kid. My daughter now, that's 15, since she was 9, she's had a Twitter account. She was on Musically before it was TikTok. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and 99, she's not on there posting, she's on there consuming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but my other one, the younger one, she's a poster and she doesn't consume. She's very, very rarely watches.
Yeah.
She's the one that wants to put content out, and the other one consumes the content, the older one. So they're very
Yeah.
different in that aspect. Yeah.
I definitely want to be aware of your time here, but I have so many questions that I want to ask. But I do want to, with kids that are so different, and I think a lot of parents would say, like, I see this huge difference in my kids, right? Whether it's a gender type of thing or whether it is just going to be a personality thing. But there is kind of a middle ground, right? We can't always be a different person at all times, right? If you had to define your parenting style that's kind of like there in the middle to support both of them somewhat at the same time, how would you define that parenting style for you in so many words?
I'm their friend before I'm their parent. And I know it might not work for other people, but like my kids trust me. And that was like my goal because I didn't trust my parents. I knew if I went to my parents with some bullshit, I was going to get in trouble. And my kids needed to come to me with, like, if they kill somebody, I want to be the person you come to. You know what I'm saying? If you steal something or you blow up somebody's car or you break something, I want to be the person because I couldn't go to my mom. I couldn't go to my dad with the littlest shit because I'd get in trouble. I'd be punished. Like my kids don't get punished. I just don't. I'm not saying like, and here's the thing, like, I'm not saying they didn't a long time ago, but not anymore. It's like, I'm not taking anything away from you. Like, if you don't do something I ask you to do, and I just started doing this a long time ago, and it's worked wonderfully. If you don't do something I ask you to do, I don't get mad. I don't take your shit away. I don't yell at you. I don't even get upset. I do it myself. And the next time you ask me for some kind of privilege, I say no and remind you why. That's the deal. And then they kind of just, anytime I ask, they do shit. So it's not like if, it works for me. I don't want to be the parent that's saying I'm taking your phone away. I would never do that. Like that's like taking away their air. Do you know what I'm saying? It really is. And I get upset when I see parents that take things away from their kid or punish kids or tell them to go to their room. Like it's just, I don't want you to go to your room. You could sit here and look miserable if you didn't do something. But here's the thing. I'm not judging you if you forgot to take out the garbage. I'm 50 and I forget to take out the garbage. You know what I mean? So it's just like when I grew up, I had that type of family where if I did something wrong, I got punished and went to my room. If I didn't do good in school, my daughter, Alexis, is not the best in school. I don't care if she gets an F. I'm not taking away something if she gets an F. She could care. You know what I'm saying? Eventually you'll care. My first daughter got left back once. Okay, never got left back again. My mother was so mad at me. You let her get left back? Yup. What am I going to do? Seriously. That's something she needs to handle. Not me. I can't force a child to do something they don't want to do. And a lot of parents are sitting there at the table at night, exhausting themselves, upsetting the time that they have with their children to try to teach them skills that they ain't even going to need. Come on. You see what they're teaching kids in school. I think it's a joke. My other daughter's homeschooled now. The only reason why the 11-year-old is not homeschooled, she doesn't want to. And she wants to go to school. Otherwise, if it was my choice, she would be homeschooled. She likes her friends, she likes going to school, and I'm not going to be the parent to tell her what to do. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to care. Like I said, like her teacher texted me a couple weeks ago. She's like, could you make sure that you charge, this is what the teacher texted me. Could you make sure that you charge Alexis's Chromebook for her for tomorrow? She's come to school. And I said, no, I'm not. I'll remind her to charge it. And if she doesn't, you can remind her again. I'm not doing that. Oh, okay. Well, that's what I meant. You know what I mean? Why am I going to do my kid's bullshit? That's her job. And you telling me to do it just tells me what I'm dealing with for a teacher, not in a mean way. Do you know what I mean? I'm
No,
not
I feel like
plugging it in.
you can be a little mean there sometimes. I think
Not, I know,
sometimes
but
these
it's like
kids need a little bit of a job.
yeah. But seriously, like, think about this. A teacher is telling me to do something for my kid. No, that's teaching. She'll figure it out. If she has to keep getting F's and not participating, eventually she'll get sick of it. And now, every night, she does her own Chromebook.
No, I think it's great. I didn't want to interrupt at all at first, just because of how fiery the quote is of you saying I am a friend first, just because you know that's going to get a lot of other parents just wound up with saying that, which I love it, because that's a little bit of my mentality too. But I think that no matter how you say that from either end, there needs to be nuance. And I think that you saying, I am a friend first, I think a lot of people would assume that you'd be the parent then that would also be charging her Chromebook, right? But that's not the case. You are their friend first to make sure that the responsibility and the accountability is actually built up.
Right.
So again, without that nuance, I think some people would think like, oh, well, then you're just creating this monster. It's like, well, if that's how you want to think about it, but that's not. And so, you know what? Turn back to yourself. You can deal with your own kids and parent your own way.
And it's just like, here's the thing. If something were to go down that's serious, I want them to run to mommy, not to some stranger. And they do, because they trust me, not to over obnoxiously fucking judge anything that they do. And I don't take it too seriously. I purchased a television about 2 years ago. My daughter was playing Nintendo Wii, and it was like, legitimately, we did not own this TV for more than 12 hours, and she accidentally swung the thing and broke the whole television. She came upstairs crying, and I'm like, dude, it's a fucking TV. Now, if that happens when I was a child, I would have been in my room for a week straight, had to work all the money back to get the TV fucking paid for, have something taken away from me, and be looked down upon and judged. Forever, I would be the child that broke the new TV. We don't talk about it. Because I don't want my child to feel like that. Totally. And if I want her to come to me, Mom, I'm pregnant. Mom, I'm this. You don't know what your kids' friends are going to tell them to do and how mentally stable they are dealing with a friend. I want them to come to me knowing I'm going to give them every single option that they have, and they're going to make the decision, not me. And that's what I mean by friend. Not I'm going to go partying with you and buy the weed and beer for you and your friends. You know what I mean?
And that, I think, is the misconception. That a lot of people would just take away from that because they don't understand what it means, So, great. I love it. Yeah. I would, just to kind of find a little of a bridge here, because I think it's so important. It's like, how niche is this to talk to parents within the VeeFriends? It's like such a small group of people, but it's also a lot bigger than I think people realize, right? But the way that I think you're talking about parenting, and then we can also take in, like, I think Gary's own kind of mindset here. But I think the bit of this stronger personality, this is what I think is an excellent way, can I say alternative way of kind of parenting a little bit, or just being more open-minded. It does fall, at least again for me, I think it falls within, I think, the community and the characters and this world that Gary is trying to build. Are you finding that, like, your parenting style, and as things get deeper within the VeeFriends world, that both just become even more connected?
Yeah.
Because I also want to just make sure, like, you're going to always be connected because of these amazing art pieces that you have all over your body right now, which is, like, so cool. But kind of two things there that I would love for you to just kind of touch on, if you definitely can. But where is this parenting being reinforced by Gary's world, or Gary's world and his characters being reinforced, like, within your, like, what is that right now for you?
Like my children never had patience until they knew who Patient Panda and Patient Pig were. Like
Yeah.
they use a lot of that, a lot of those terms instead of, you know what I'm saying? They will, the other day, my daughter kept coming down to my other daughter's room, taking her little tiny cans of soda, and the other one's yelling, calling her befuddled burglar down the hallway. Do you know what I mean? So they use a lot of the terminology, or if somebody's like screaming, it's my turn, my older one will be like, be a patient panda. You know what I mean? So they use a lot of it. And when they see those types of things, like they look at them constantly. You know what I mean? My daughter constantly, the older one, talks a lot about Rare Robot and Persistent Penguin. You know what I mean? She'll come downstairs and she'll start showing me things that she wants on Amazon. And I'll be like, okay. She's like, I'm going to be a persistent penguin until you check this cart out. So they use a lot of the terminology for their own good. But as long as that's how they're understanding patience, do you know what I'm saying? And persistence, a lot of children don't. You know what I'm saying? There a lot I try not to be very judgmental on who my younger one hangs out with, but there's a couple where that I don't, you could see the way a child behaves in front of you and you're like, oh my God, I hope my kid doesn't like this kid. Not in a mean way, but it's like, because just the way that they behave, there is no patience. They talk back. Like I listened to this child on her cell phone who was 9 years old, like talking to her mother. I would be very offended if my child ever talked to me like that.
Yeah,
So,
I hear you.
and it's just like, I don't want to be that person to be like, I don't want you hanging out with her. I just made sure, like, you know, I'm like, do you hear how she talks to her mom? Don't talk to me like that. If I tell, because she was telling her, I'll be home when I get home. The mom was telling her to come home, and the daughter didn't want to go home. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, I'll be home when I get home. And it was dark out. And I looked at my daughter. I'm like, you ever tell me you'll be home when you get home, they're going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Like right in front of her, I said it. I don't care. And then when she hung up, like, you talk to your mom like that and she's okay with it. And you could not judgmentally, but you could tell that this kid ran the house. You know what I mean? And she's probably the same type of parent who punishes them because this child wasn't allowed to go somewhere at some point. You know what I mean? So not judge. You got to do what works for you as a parent. Maybe that works for her, but it would not work for me if my child were to tell me how stuff was going to go down. You know what I mean? I tell them how it's going to go down. And if they don't like it, I could tell on their face. But my kids get over shit real fast. You know what I mean? Because they're just, I'm not that type of parent. If they want to do something, I'll always try to do that for them. But, you know, my 11-year-old is very, very invested in VeeFriends.
What I want to ask this, and then again, want to be aware of time for you here. But with your parenting style and all this that you've kind of shared, is there a character? Maybe it's Patient Pig.
It is.
But is there a character that you most kind of like think everything is kind of coming into that you think is kind of you personified?
It would definitely be Patient Pig. However, when I am at the gym, it's definitely Gift Goat because I'm lucky enough to be.
Hold on. I love it. I love the characters, but how does the gym associate with Gift Goat?
Okay, here it is. All right. Because I never, ever, ever thought I'd be able to do any of the stuff that I do. You know what I mean? And that's like a gift to me. And I legitimately, when I'm there, continually call myself, because I have the gift code on my back. You know what I mean? And I resonate more with Gift Goat when I'm working out because, you know, I do more. And
I love it.
I honestly was never, you know, when you're like almost 500 pounds, you don't think you're going to be able to do any of that shit. I never in my, like, there were things I did yesterday, even I didn't feel good. I have a little bit of a sore throat. I went to the gym and I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe I pulled that off. You know what I mean? So, but if in the aspect, if I had to pick one Like, it would definitely be patient pig because, it was 23 years ago that I was 500 pounds. And most people that are in that situation where they're morbidly obese don't want to hear it's going to take 23 fucking years. So I've already been patient. You know what I mean? Without flipping
See
out.
it.
You know what I'm saying? I knew
Yeah.
what I signed up for, and I knew it was going to take a long time. So
This is,
definitely.
I think this is more why I was so excited to have some of these conversations. One, because I think parents connect in so many different ways, and we all need to kind of help each other out in some kind of way too. But I love the way that people are kind of connecting and talking about these different characters and what it's kind of making you think, and how it's like, I would never think of Gift Goat in the way of it actually, and it sounds so silly. I would never think of Gift Goat in the way of it providing you or making you more grateful of the things that you have in life, right? This is a gift that life has given me, and maybe it's just the current atmosphere, but I feel like you look at like gifts as gifts, right? As like people giving you them, and then I think we kind of get lost at that point. But I think what an amazing reminder for you to do that, because I don't know if I would have actually made that connection. Actually, makes me like Gift Goat more, because I always thought of Gift Goat as more of this like materialistic kind of
I
thing.
got you.
So maybe because there's an actual gift in the picture, I don't know. But I
Yeah.
think the way you explained it is perfect, because like even me, I know I connect with like the gnome, I connect with the troll in very specific ways that no one may understand, but it definitely has helped me connect with something. And now it's kind of that moment where like when like kids, they're not going to talk to a therapist or a parent, but they'll talk to a puppet.
Yeah.
I think I've like taken some things from my mind, and I've put this into this character, so now I can observe this character in my mind. It's helped me become more self-aware. But anyway,
It's just like
the
you
goal.
don't realize the gift you have to be able to do something and be great at it. You know what I mean? So that's
Totally.
kind of like I think GOAT greatest of all time, and it's a gift to even be great at something. Like that's just how I relate to it, because at someone who was that physically out of shape, you would never think you'd be great in a gym. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a fucking gift.
Sure, totally. I love it.
Especially.
I love that I'm kind of looking at it differently. I need to ask this question. Maybe we'll wrap it up after this. Who
Yeah.
knows how long you can talk about this. You have tattoos. You
Yeah.
have these art pieces all over your body. It's a dedication to these characters, to this community right now. I think people would ask questions that don't understand tattoos. And I don't have any tattoos, so I don't think I even understand it, but
Yeah.
I'm not at all, I'm like, that's amazing. What's up? Where did this all come from? Why tattoos? Why did you now dedicate this all to VeeFriends? And like, where are we going with this all?
It's I really really had always wanted tattoos, but when I was so overweight, the only tattoo I got was on my calf, because it was the only muscular part of my body, and I always knew, even as how heavy I was, eventually I would have figured it the F out. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to be stuck with all of these tattoos that looked horrible. So I kind of like put it off. And then it really started with Rare Robot, was the first one that I got, this one. And I put it right by my watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I looked down, when I was at the gym, it was something like, and it had to be the series 2, because the series 1, no offense, Gary, that shit ugly as fuck. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna hate, because I have a couple series 1s, okay, but not Rare Robot. I don't like his series 1. So, like, it was just at the time I got them, there were a few that I was going through things that I needed them. Do you know what I mean? And there were a lot of times where Patient Pig needed to go on my chest, because it legitimately took me like 3 years to be able to see the muscles popping out of my chest. And she was my favorite, so she was the biggest. And she's got a series 1 body and a series 2 head, because she had to be different than the other ones. Like, I'm real weird with the tattoos, you know what I mean? Then it was just, because here's the thing, I don't want the NFTs. No offense to NFTs. And the cards, I'm not saying this in a mean way. Those things, this shit not going anywhere. And I really believe in it. 100%. Like, how
Mhm.
cool would you be if in 1952 you got a Mickey Mouse tattoo? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, I
totally.
really, really, really believe, and I'm really surprised, not that Gary's not intelligent or a genius, that somebody else didn't come up with something like this a long time ago to teach people the better traits. You know what I mean?
Well, hold on. You know what I would say? This isn't a stop. I don't like your idea because I do. You know what it is? I think what he's doing is he's finding a way to make the mundane a little bit more interesting. And I'm gonna connect this with nutrition really quickly. Nutrition is boring as hell.
Way
Nutrition
more.
is because it's the boring stuff that works. It's the boring stuff you have to
Yep.
do. We have to keep finding out how to make it sexy. And what Gary's done here, what I feel is that he's kind of made some of these things sexy. Like, how do you make patience sexy? You do it with a character, right? And now, not only do we have kids that will eventually like this character more, but you have adults that are connecting with it, yeah, right away. Which is, I think, his original idea, right?
Yeah.
His what was it? It was Desktop Heroes. Is that what he
Workplace
originally wanted to call it?
warriors. It was
Yeah.
workplace warriors.
And so it was always going to be geared towards adults, right? But I think now he's been able to find that moment where he can not only connect with adults now, but he also has the kids that are going to come in too. But yeah, in my mind, and I think maybe this is why I connected with so much, is again, he found a way to market to make something sexy that's boring. And I mean, that's the industry he's in. So whether he did that on purpose or not, but that's my take on it.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. I'm just like, it's just I get certain ones depending on what I'm going through at the time. And once in a while, if I'm going through something and I don't know what tattoo to get, believe me, I find one. And then I find a reason for it. You know what I mean? There's many I won't get. Like, I would never get Resilient Red Devil. Not happening.
oh
Yeah,
wait,
I would
why?
never get the Burglar. There's certain VeeFriends I don't like. They just, you know
Okay.
what I mean? And not in a mean way. It's just like, honestly, that Burglar one reminds me of my dad. Dead serious.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I swear to God, every time, like, here's ones we opened up the other day. Like, anytime I find a burglar, like, these ain't even in whatever yet, I'm like, I give it away immediately. I want nothing to do with it. That one
Hey,
or
but
the devil
you know what? I feel like whether we connect with it positively
or
or
negatively.
with challenges and negatively, it's still amazing. It's invoking. I don't know. That's what I've always loved in some kind of way, like clipping something from a podcast and putting some good music behind it and invoking an emotion in people. Like, I love that, and it's because it starts with me, and then I want someone else to feel that. So I will keep ever finding how I can maybe do that even on a larger scale. But again, I think that's what Gary's done a really good job of it here. But I love how there's such a connection with you and your girls, right?
Yeah. My daughter was the one, my youngest was the one that told me to do a VeeFriends question of the day and give away a card every day, because I legitimately do a question of the day for my weight loss group and talk about all different stuff. Like today it was, what garbage do you once in a while eat or drink that you don't care about? What is something you can't give up? You know what I mean? So, and I do that every single day, and she hears me because I always do it before school, to the point where she's like, hey, can't you do a VeeFriends question of the day and give out a card and talk about, and I was like, actually, it's not a bad idea. You know what I mean? So today I didn't, but normally I will and give away cards because we have so many duplicates. You know what I mean? That I just want other people that don't have them, because not many people can, but now they're about $400 a box on a good day. You know what I mean? When I was buying the boxes, they were like 100, 125, 160. Now if you go online, it's
Beautiful
$400
days.
a box.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's not many people that get to open them. Plus, there's not really that big of a following for VeeFriends cards yet on Facebook. And
Totally.
that's where most of my time is spent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really tried to get my community involved in it, and some of them did. And that's why I built another little patient piggy page over on Facebook, where for now I just kind of put any kind of, giveaways I'm running, or if I open a box or I put up their comics or something, because there's really it's not the same type of thing as on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's very,
I hear
very
you.
difficult on Facebook. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Facebook has been something I know I've moved largely away from. I had
I
my
know.
my
I like it.
online groups and stuff, and yeah, it's I was never as successful building the communities and the groups, but I think that's why I was never so invested in that so much. But it sounds like you're doing some incredible stuff, and I'm really impressed. And again, so glad that we could connect. I think that this is
Yes.
also a
Thank
way that
you.
I just get to meet people and kind of become friends in a different way. And we're actually not that very far, right? You're down in South Jersey?
Yeah.
You are, got it. Cool. Yeah, we used to. I mean, vacation seaside was all my life.
That's
My
right
dad
where I
grew up
live,
in
by Tom's
basically
River.
Portland. Oh, nice, perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we're down that way, we'll give you a call.
All right. Thank you so much.
Um, yeah, of course. Just want to make sure. Is there anything else that you feel like you need to share about yourself, or do you feel like you were able to represent yourself the way you wanted to
I
here?
think I've said enough. You'll probably
It
get
was
this
all
lady's
beautifully said.
crazy.
It's perfect. Thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah, of course. I'll see you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye bye.